This is literally the most brutal test I could imagine. There is a washer and dryer going in the other room, so I'm going to close that door. And I got this terrible light going on right here. I have everything on and running, and we're going to see there's a lot of autofocus going on, auto white balance, mixed lighting, humming from the computer. We're going to see back to back each one of these setups, how they sound in comparison to each other. So let me close this door, see how that affects everything. Okay, just had to take one more check to see if everything is running. So we're going to go left to right, and then we'll talk about the dedicated audio. So farthest to the left, I have an iPhone 6s Plus with a Movo mic, smaller mic. I think it's the SG698, and there's an adapter on it. It's a shotgun mic, little setup, which you can see here. Next, we have I'm using MoviePro. Everything should be in 30p. Some is 1080, some is 4K. The next one is the A6500, just onboard audio. I use the A6500 often on a gimbal, so I can't really use a shotgun mic on it. So I'd like to kind of see how it compares without it. Oh, by the way, this room has zero soundproofing. It's just bare walls, glass window, and shelves. There's carpet on the floor, but it's not lush by any means. Next, moving to the center, we have the A7S II. Like I said, everything is on autofocus. We're at the widest aperture we can be on all these lenses. So the A6500 has the 18-105, and it's shooting at f4. The A7S II has a 28mm full frame shooting at f2. Next we have the GoPro. It has no mic attached to it. Moving on, we have a Lumix Panasonic FZ300, and on top I have the Lenshopper from Shure, and it has a large windscreen on it. It's hard to take off, so I always leave it on there, and it has a 20 plus decibel boost. You can see how some of the autofocus is working on all these things, moving in, moving out. I don't know how wide I am on everything, but we're on autofocus, just seeing how everything runs. It's reasonably bright in here, although it's mixed light. Moving on to our final camera, we have the Canon 70D. It also has a mic on it. These are Takstar, not Movo, I think. So the iPhone has the SG698, and then the prior model is the 598 with Canon, and that one is a lot larger. I've been pretty happy with it for the things I've used it for, but it's a lot larger. It definitely takes up a big amount of space. So this is typically how I would set things up depending on what the cameras would be. This one in the middle, the A7S II, is my A cam. I use it mostly on various rigs. The next one is the A6500. It's on the gimbal, sometimes the B cam, sometimes it's on a monopod. I use my cell phone for a lot of stuff, sometimes with a mic, sometimes with an external mic that'll be run to a table for interviews, various things, podcasts. GoPro is the 3 Plus Black. I almost use never, but might as well throw it in the mix. The Lumix I've been using a lot. If you understand its limitations, there's a lot of things you can do with it, but it can be pretty terrible in low light. So let's see how it sounds. You know, I put the best equipment, sometimes the best microphone with the worst camera, to really, you know, truly handicap and see how they'll compare to each other. And then obviously the Canon. And the three other mics I have set up. Right here we have I'll put a link in the description. I think it's a JK. It's like a $30 microphone, and I have 4 different versions of these because I love it. They're 30 bucks. I have 2 that'll work with my Zoom H1, and then I have 2 that'll work with a phone, so an iPhone. I have one other mic that's not here that has a really long cord that I really like. I think that's also a Movo that I've been pretty impressed with. And then directly in front of me, I have the Shure SM58 split to an H4n so that it has 100 level and then 80 level to see if there's any clipping. I always like some protection there, and just using a basic splitter with an XLR is a great way to accomplish that. Now, the biggest issue I have with this microphone is usually if you're not really close, then it's not really useful, but it's a good and a bad thing. So if you're trying to do any sort of interview, it's outside or it's noisy, it's perfect. It's basically, in this realm, you're going to get 80% of the sound, and then once you get much further than this, it falls off very quickly. So if there's background noise, there's cars, there's any number of things, this could be perfect for that. And we'll see what kind of isolation we get out of this compared to the mics that are directly here. In this pocket, I have just an old iPhone 5 running Voice Record Pro. It's at -1. It'll usually clip at whatever it automatically sets to. I don't know why it automatically tries to set to some higher number, but I've been really happy with this app and this setup. Use this as a backup for a lot of things. It's free and it's a $30 microphone, so definitely check that out if you don't have some sort of setup like this and you have an old phone laying around. Bad thing about this phone is like a lot of the iPhone 5s, this off button here doesn't work, so you just got to be gentle, make sure the screen goes off, you don't touch anything. And then classic old Zoom H1, and these are similar mics, but they have different connectors. And I don't remember all the details on that, but if you look it up, they make the same mics for the different connectors. And this has been a very reliable setup for me. I use it in a lot of different fashions. So yeah, we'll see how all of these compare together. 1 iPhone, 2 A6500, 3 A7S Mark II, 4 GoPro 3 Plus Black, 5 Lumix FZ300 Panasonic, and 6 Canon 70D, all with different microphones. Generally with the same 30p setup. Some are 1080, some are 4K. Hopefully I didn't do a lot on audio levels, but we'll see how some of that tweaks by itself. And let's check a little bit more with just moving around different spaces, seeing how things are affected. There's some activity going on in the other room, so I don't know how that's going to pick up. Move away from the mic, move to the side of the mic, move around. Just see how some of this picks up. With all these different setups, getting closer, farther away, getting closer to the iPhone, just seeing, is it tracking me? How is the sound? Moving away, how does that sound? I'm going to move into the A6500. Is it tracking me? See what the sound is like, getting this close. I'm still not very far away, it's only 4 or 5 feet, but just see kind of with the echo how it picks up. The A7S II doesn't have the greatest autofocus system, but we'll just kind of see how that tracks me. Should be on wide autofocus. The GoPro is the GoPro. I'm not expecting a lot from it, although it is a nice wide cam that just runs, especially if you have a nice battery pack on it. Moving over to here, we have the Lumix with the best shotgun mic that I have. Doesn't have great autofocus, but we'll be interested to see if we're framed up reasonably tight, how well it tracks, and if it can pick up sound in a rather simple setup that I could use outside of this. And then finally we have the Canon 7. On this works quite well. Getting away from it, seeing how the sound changes with the Takstar mic, just moving in and moving away, and it seems to be tracking pretty well. So I'll try to get a little bit more video of the exact setups I'm using, and you tell me your thoughts and what you think is simple, reliable, and cost effective. And never forget, sync everything up with some claps.